Camera 2 is live. Brother?
And camera 1 is live.
Where were you, brother?
Just in the den. I was afraid my appearance today might be too electrifying for the camera to handle cold, so I was warming it up by remote.
Is there something even marginally different about your appearance today, brother?
Can't you tell?
Your hair and eyeballs appear to be in roughly the same position as ever.
Today, brother, as a tribute to today's game,
Yes?
I'm not wearing any pants.
Ah!
You see, video gamers, today we're riding the mass relays deep into the heart of the memory lane nebula and playing Mass Effect 1. That's right, the original. And what was Mass Effect 1 known for?
I am almost positive it was not known for a lack of pens.
Mass Effect 1 was known for forcing the player to make a series of intense moral decisions in the course of the game. Decisions that had far-ranging and often severe consequences. And through your save file, those choices would follow you throughout the series, changing the very landscape of your individual playthrough.
But your pants, brother.
Or so they would have had us believe, yet when you actually played Mass Effect 2, the fallout from all those important decisions amounted to little more than a combined 10 minutes of mildly altered cutscenes. Did you save Ashley's life in Mass Effect 1 while sacrificing Kaidan? Well, one lousy cameo aside, they're both gone in Mass Effect 2. Did you sacrifice the lives of the Council, the head of the governing body, for the entire known universe? Well, no big deal, it turns out. The known universe is good with whatever.
And so, because you didn't get around to complaining about this 7 years ago, you're not wearing any pants now as a protest?
No, brother, I'm not wearing pants as a metaphor. You see, just like those decisions, my lack of pants seems like it should be a big deal, yet in actual execution it makes no significant difference in our presentation whatsoever.
I'm not certain that's strictly true, brother. I'm definitely perceiving something different. It's a sense of persistent revulsion and creeping horror.
Is it horror at slapdash narrative building?
It is not. Please put on some pants.
I've made my point.
Today, video gamers, we are indeed revisiting the first entry in BioWare's tremendously successful sci-fi RPG franchise, Mass Effect 1. It seemed an appropriate time to do so following the recent release of the newest entry in the series, Mass Effect Andromeda.
I don't understand why we're not just playing Andromeda today, frankly.
There have been certain graphical issues reported with it, brother. I thought it best we let them get through 2 or 3 more patches before doing any critical analysis.
I saw footage of Andromeda. It looked perfectly fine. The environments looked good, the series' signature alien races like the Asari and Solarians were present, and they even showed off some exciting, new, utterly bizarre alien creatures.
Those were supposed to be the humans, brother.
Oh. Well, yes, maybe a patch or 2 couldn't hurt.
Then let us relive Mass Effect 1.
Despite my earlier statements, I actually did very much enjoy Mass Effect 1 and 2. They had a unique feel to them, a distinct air of true sci-fi-ness.
That would explain all the aliens hanging around on their spaceship in space in the future.
Let me clarify, brother Smarty Pants, most of your narrative-driven space games prior to this adhered pretty closely to one of 4 space game archetypes: Call of Duty in space, Dungeons & Dragons in space, Legend of Zelda in space, or Alien, technically already in space. But when Mass Effect came on the scene, it opened up a genre whose closest analog was not one of those games, or even a movie, but rather a late 80s, early 90s sci-fi television series.
So Mass Effect became the Star Trek The Next Generation of video games.
I'd say more Deep Space Nine, given the ambiguous morality, color scheme, and relative time spent in drinking establishments.
Drum roll.
Really milking the suspense, aren't they? They must have been paid by the minute.
Maybe people read slower in space.
The Massachusetts Chamber of Commerce's snappy new slogan.
The Arcturus Prime relays in range. Initiating transmission sequence.
Now in this playthrough, we're using the default Commander Shepard model, but the game actually gives you a wide array of customization tools that can, if you put in enough time and effort, make Shepard look like your own real-life self, if you had suffered severe facial nerve damage and replaced your hair with plastic roofing tiles.
I like to think that somewhere in the universe there's a colony for failed custom avatars where their ghoulish appearance is never judged.
You're thinking of Portland, brother. That right there is the look of a man who doesn't remember what he walked into the kitchen for.
Now, the plot of Mass Effect 1, for those who haven't played it, spoilers by the way, begins with Commander Shepard being sent to track down a rogue Turian Spectre named Saren Arterius.
Hold on, you lost me at Turian, Spectre, Saren, and Arterius.
I know you've played this before, brother.
The human mind only has so much capacity to retain made-up sci-fi terms, Chan. I'm pretty sure I was already at 90% full by age 15, and then I read Frank Herbert's Dune on top of that, and now I basically have the sci-fi trivia version of that memento disease.
Well, in this universe, a Spectre is essentially an intergalactic James Bond, an ultra-high-level government agent that operates above and outside the law. I'm not certain if seducing alien women is also required per se, but the evidence leans in that direction.
Government agencies sure enjoy their scary nicknames, don't they? There's Spectres, the CIA has Spooks, Tom Clancy had Ghost Recon. Do you suppose this all might stem from secret military efforts currently underway to weaponize the undead, as detailed in games like Resident Evil and House of the Dead?
I can see why you're running out of space in there.
Wait, what just happened? Is this some sinister alien species that's envious of our human flagpole technology?
How do you not remember any of this? These are the Geth.
Oh, right, the sinister, machine-based alien race that was named by a man with a severe lisp. And this was before they kidnapped Captain Picard and turned him into Locutus, right?
Are you messing with me, brother?
Honestly, there's no way to tell. It was astounding, was it not, the lengths sci-fi video games of the early to mid-2000s would go to work some zombies into the plot. It seems like there wasn't an alien species out there that didn't have some hobby project that required human corpses.
I like to think it was more just an extension of the 1990s pro-recycling campaign.
It seems just a little arrogant of us, don't you think? It's like our human cadavers are so great, every alien species wants to control them.
We're going to skip a little ahead here because I want to get to the Citadel. It is in many ways the centerpiece of the original Mass Effect trilogy, and it's also where you'll meet your first crewmates who aren't boring regular humans.
Always with the humans, so overrated.
Who do we think we are? And there it is, the Citadel, resplendent in all its otherworldly glory.
It looks like the end of one of those little plastic snaps that keep garment tags on.
As indeed its very presence binds together the garment tag that is the hearts of all the free peoples of the known universe.
Your marketing classes were not in vain, brother. You know, a structure of that size floating out in space, hosting presumably an enormous number of people, many of them for the span of their entire lives.
Yes?
What do they do with all the poo? Do they just eject it? Because it would be an enormous amount, and there are a lot of spacecraft simply parked around the station, and it would be unfortunate to return to your ship and see it spotted all over with the filth of 100 distinct species.
I imagine they keep it on board, brother, attempt to recycle it as fertilizer to maintain some sort of sustainable equilibrium. Well, for the species that don't excrete like battery acid or molten lead.
I'll bet the Elcor poop a lot.
There we are, the lowest point of discourse for the day. Glad that's out of the way.
And they denounce it like,
"In distress, I really have to poop." Ah, there was a floor lower. Who could have foreseen? And this next scene will bring us to the Presidium, a monument to the beauty that all sentient species of the galaxy working together can achieve.
oh, it's no such thing. It's a glorified outer space shopping mall. If the game was even slightly realistic, you'd see Shepard tripping over hordes of loitering alien teenagers on skateboards, and the whole place would smell of bathroom disinfectant and spilled raspberry slushies.
Not much for poetry, are you, brother?
For that matter, it's worth noting how much the Presidium's design aesthetics cater to human, perhaps even more specifically suburban human beauty standards. I bet the blue skies and green trees are a real taste of home for the alien species that have to wear an exosuit to sustain their normal atmosphere of diffused sulfur and mercury vapors. I'll bet whenever they start to feel isolated amongst the oxygen breathers, they step out here and think, I may be alone in this environment that will murder me if I develop even the smallest pinhole in my protective equipment, but at least they've got a Starbucks.
Your investigation is over, Garrus.
Here it is, fan favorite Garrus, seen here in his early pre-calibration days.
He's the best friend you'll ever want to punch right in his too-busy-to-talk mandibles.
Investigation into Saren. Sounds like you really want to bring him down.
I don't trust him. Something about him rubs me the wrong way.
That's what you want, more law enforcement move to obsessive stalking by gut feelings. That ends well.
I think the council's ready for us, Commander.
Good luck, Shepard.
I bet all these staircases aren't just for show. They make for good defensive positions if this place is ever attacked.
When all you can contribute to a conversation is tactical staircase commentary, it's best to just enjoy some silence.
This part of the station has a real well-funded Silicon Valley startup feel to it, like any minute you expect to see a 25-year-old executive with a handlebar mustache drift by on a scooter.
The hearing's already started. Come on.
The Geth attack is a matter of some concern, but there is nothing to indicate Saren was involved in any way.
This seems an appropriate time to say a few words about Mass Effect's conversation system, since it was with this title that the system, which has since been adopted by a large number of games, rose to prominence.
And what would you like to say about Mass Effect's conversation system, brother?
I say it has become a blight on the face of all narrative-driven games, and it must be stamped out as decisively as an outbreak of cholera or the professional aspirations of an amateur ventriloquist.
Harsh but fair.
It's fine for a yes or no response, but when your character is confronted with more complex issues, the text paraphrasing becomes so vague as to give you no real idea as to what you're actually going to say. You might select, "It's complicated," when confronted with a question about World War II, generally a truthful response, only to find your character's actual dialogue begins with, "Well, Hitler had some good ideas."
I think that's a bit of an extreme case.
You think so? This awful system is everywhere now. It's in The Witcher and Fallout 4. There's one you get all the time in Fallout, just a little text selection that says, "sarcastic." You might as well issue the player a book of Mad Libs and a talkie Tina doll for the level of precision that gets you. Did you mean to say, "It's hot outside," or "I'm glad your wife died horribly"? There's no way to tell until you've already said it.
It's not that bad, brother.
Petition to have him disbarred from the Spectres.
Sarcastic. Go on and figure it out.
This meeting is adjourned.
Oh, look, they have a convenient suicide ledge for when the meetings turn out poorly. He's going to double back, take a run at it.
Back off, Rex. Fisk told us to take you down if you showed up.
Oh, crap, I think we just walked into a bar fight between two drunk box turtles.
Those are the Krogans, brother.
Them? They own a chain of grocery stores.
No, that's... You're doing it again.
I know who the Krogans are. Big, foul-tempered brutes always spoiling for a scrap. Remember, it's not racist if it's the whole darn planet. Do you suppose if you licked a Krogan you'd hallucinate?
You might have a fever dream or two once the salmonella has a chance to incubate.
Harkin, right? I was told you could help me find someone. A Turian CSEC officer named Garrus.
Garrus?
You know, having made the comparison, it's good that Mass Effect wasn't an early 90s sci-fi television series.
Too violent?
Too expensive. All the exterior space shots would probably have been acceptable TNG-grade computer graphics, and most of the interiors could have been accomplished with some neon-lit warehouse space. But can you imagine how depressing it would have been to see a whisper-thin, basic cable-budgeted Krogan accomplished with some latex forehead ridges and a space hoodie?
I think the Asari would have adapted all right.
Of course the Asari would have adapted all right. Their design notes in their entirety read, "Hot blue chick, completely normal except for tentacle hair." There were probably some blue women already hanging around Los Angeles in the 90s. Skin-tight outfit, drape a squid on their head, they're good to go. It's the other ones, the really alien aliens, that wouldn't cross over well.
How about Garrus, played by Willem Dafoe? No makeup whatsoever, just wearing a blue jacket and an eyepiece.
I guess I'd watch that.
Michelle's office. She runs the med clinic on the other side of the wards. Last I heard, he was going back there.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, good. Go. Let me drink in peace.
Shepard's standard run has a real light jogging in place at a Curves franchise quality to it.
Why didn't Captain Anderson...
I didn't tell anyone, I swear.
That was smart, Dud.
Hey, it's the soundboard kid from Griff Tannen's gang in Back to the Future 2. I see that middle age has pushed him to harder crimes.
Didn't even have time to play one last chicken noise.
I think you were onto something with your Mass Effect casting, brother. What do you say to a thought exercise?
What, dream casting a Mass Effect movie?
Oh no, making ideal casting choices is far too easy and ultimately futile. This is a video game movie we're talking about. Ideal just isn't in the numbers. No, what I want us to do is cast the Mass Effect movie that will actually get made, the one that enrages the fan base, disappoints at the box office, and gets an average of 1.5 to 2 stars before being forgotten by movie critics forever.
I can dance to these two.
Casting Shepard, go!
Too easy, Sam Worthington. The poor man's Mark Wahlberg.
All of you.
who is, himself, also kind of the poor man's Mark Wahlberg.
Joker.
Seth Green.
What, really?
Yes, but only to crush their spirits. He dies in the first 5 minutes because we spent the whole budget on Worthington.
What about Liara Tassone?
Michelle Rodriguez. Surly and drunk.
Rex?
All CG, no voice actor, not even mocap. Krogan's will be rewritten as a sort of species of alien bulldog, dies in his only scene.
Budget Garrus.
James Franco. Wait, Dave Franco.
And Tully Zora?
Mila Jovovich.
Actually, that's not so bad.
Not finished. Her role is rewritten as the protagonist, and directing duties are handed to Resident Evil's Paul W.S. Anderson.
Who in the world has hurt you so, brother?
I put her in contact with Fist. He's an agent for the Shadow.
Wait! Don't kill me, I surrender!
Wait, that's Fist? When I hear the name Fist, I have to say that the image does not spring immediately to mind of an average-built man who voluntarily shaved his hair into the shape of a short-order cook's hat.
You would have to be pretty secure in your fighting prowess before doing so.
The Quarian isn't here. Said you'd only deal with the Shadow Broker himself.
Impossible. The Shadow Broker only works through...
It's probably not good form to scrutinize too heavily the animations of a game that came out a decade ago, particularly in light of the whole Andromeda affair, but between the interrogator and the interrogatee here, this is a real meeting of the crazy eyes.
You can see that look in all-night diners around 3 a.m. when the bars let out, in the faces of men who find themselves angry at a plate of rubbery eggs and soggy toast for failing to deliver an uninterrupted flow of gin into their bloodstream, and God help you if you make eye contact. If I was Shepard, I'd just shoot.
Did you bring it?
Where's the Shadow Broker? Where's Fist?
Tell the truth, Chan. Did you romance Tully Zora in Mass Effect 2?
I don't feel that's an appropriate topic of conversation.
You did! You did, and you feel like a creep about it because she was like the equivalent of 16 in Mass Effect 1.
It's not something I like to talk about.
No need. I know exactly how it happened. You romanced Liara in Mass Effect 1, but when Mass Effect 2 rolled around, Liara was no longer available, and faced with the prospect of lonely evenings with your space fish, you tossed Liara's portrait into the nearest incinerator and pounced like the predator you are.
That wasn't quite how it happened.
You don't need to justify it to me, brother. The other female options on the ship were Miranda and Jack. That's a choice between listening to a New Zealand model tell you how great she is and dating Jared Leto's Joker. Tolly was the only pleasant option. It's a wonder, though, all that work on BioWare's part to script difficult choices for the player when the really wrenching decision occurred naturally, whether or not to come to grips with what an irredeemable creep you are.
Fist set me up. I knew I couldn't trust him.
I know I couldn't trust him, that's why I came alone to meet him in the darkest, most isolated spot on the ship.
Not that I don't appreciate the help. Who are you?
So, Chan, about your teenage romance.
She was in her 20s.
I'm not judging you, no, but that had to put you in a bit of an awkward situation in Mass Effect 3 when Liara returned, did it not? How did you handle that?
I didn't play it. I heard that the ending was disappointing.
You didn't play it because you couldn't handle facing your video game ex-girlfriend.
I think we're running out of time, video gamers.
Were you afraid she was going to give you the silent treatment, throw a virtual lamp at you?
If you enjoyed our presentation today, video gamers, in spite of certain uncouth behaviors here at the end, be sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends about us.
Even better, you can support us directly at our Patreon, where we will convert your money into new and exciting tales of true romance. Isn't that right, Brother Casanova?
A renegade action just occurred to me. We'll see you next time, video gamers.
Hey, where'd you go? Ah!
I was on my pilgrimage, my rite of passage into adulthood.